Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. This is my very first video, very first comic review I'm excited about. This is Narwhal's Earthbound. I've been collecting comics for about a year, and this is one of the very first crowdfunded comics a year ago that I was really excited. I was really into. I really liked Narwhal's style. Very fast paced, extremely cinematic. But yeah, no, this is the I got the hardcover. I know he released it digitally, but I was waiting to read this physically, which overall I really enjoyed. I'm gonna get into this is the sketch cover goodies. Of the goodies, I really liked the Narwhal Mafia stuff. I guess I'm in the Mafia, which is pretty cool. The Narwhal crew. And one thing though, it says, I'm deputized as a bounder. I'm not really sure exactly what a bounder is. I know what the headhunters, like these are essentially our three headhunters in the story, but if anyone could tell me, Narwhal, let me know what a bounder is. But all right, so let's get into it. Earthbound is it's a little complicated, but not really that complicated. Earthbound is okay. The surface level. It's an 80s high concept sci-fi in the setting of a high school, which is I really like. Here's Narwhal's sketch, which I really appreciate. Thank you, Narwhal. And let's see, let's get into it. Here's the thank you page. So our main character, Whiz Kid, he's stranded on Earth. This is 4 years ago, and he's an alien. And here is where we're introduced to Blogart. He is our kind of comic relief, but he's a guy who's pretty much figured out that he's an alien, kind of a weirdo, but definitely the kind of kid who would piece this kind of thing together. So here he is. I think writing like a piece about the so-called alien, but here we are introduced to the two main characters who are put into this sort of tournament where they have to draft these sirens or these warriors into the Galactic Grand Prix. So they're the bounty hunters who go to different galaxies drafting warriors for this even bigger sort of event. But here's Blogart interviewing WizKid, getting more intel about what these aliens and kind of what's going on in the grand scheme of things. But what our main characters here, Spaceman, he's kind of like the meathead, but he's like a smart meathead. He's no nonsense, and he almost knows his limitations and just tries to get to point A to point B. He's a clever character, and here's Julia, who is the complete opposite, who does everything with she thinks out the situation. So two opposites who are essentially friends, who have to go team against each other for their freedom, and just not be headhunters anymore. So let's see. Here we go. I like how the Narwhal zooms out a lot. I know your boy Zach talks a lot about how zooming out kind of makes things, I think, cooler. I think that's what he says. But I love how he zooms out when he needs to really kind of make the scene a lot more dramatic, really cool. So the main sort of, I guess, the big thing with this book is that they're given this prototype. Here's kind of where like the high school kind of sci-fi shenanigans happen. They're given these guns, these called R-types, that once you're shot, you're automatically like brainwashed into following whoever shot you. The thing about it is you're not even really in like a zombie kind of like at all. You're just automatic, like you're just automatically prone to follow and do whatever who shoots you. So you can never really know unless like maybe the last minute of like you getting attacked or something, you know, by the person. You never really know who is exactly brainwashed. And I like his style here where, well, every panel with Narwhal, and like I was saying, is very cinematic. It's like he's the master of showing, don't tell. So here's, you know, this little toady guy bringing in this box, and here it is, it's opening, and then here it is, like pops out, like it's all done, 1, 2, 3, like it's just boom. Like this is pretty much his like my favorite things about his styles is like it's a no nonsense, get to the point. I totally forgot how many pages it is. I think it's like 136. I read this in one sitting. Like this is a quick read. It does not feel at all like 100+ pages. Like this is a very fast paced, very cinematic. Like if you would put this into a film, you would pretty much just kind of follow. You have the blueprint. Like I know a lot of people say like, oh, this would be a really cool movie. Like when I think back on this, I think about it like a movie, which I like. I think that's a cool quality to have when you're making a comic like this. So yeah, so he was stranded 4 years ago, and almost even forgot about this, the most important part. So they're both competing. They can't both get freedom, and the catch is, so yeah, they have to draft 4 people, 4 sirens, ultimate warriors, into this galactic Grand Prix, and they have to get 3 of the 4. And they say, you know, what if we each get 2? And so yeah, if it's a tie, it's like, oh, okay, well then, hey, there's this guy who's stranded 4 years ago that you conveniently know, and if you get a tie, then one of you have to shoot him, and then the tiebreaker. Now, I won't get too much into spoilers. Obviously, alliances happened, and it's not as clear-cut as you think things go. But WizKid is also kind of thrown into this tournament, and this is kind of where Blogart gets more information. I like the Muppets, Bunsen and Beaker, like kind of stand-ins. I like that. It's pretty funny. But yeah, so this is where we kind of take into the high school element, because the sirens are the so-called warriors are just 4 girls in a high school, and they kind of have to pass off as high school students. Here, let's skip ahead. Real quick. This panel right here birthed one of Narwhal's future projects, modded, which I'm super excited for. It's like modded Nerf guns, but it's nice to kind of see this kind of play out. But this is WizKid talking to one of his other friends who also turns out to be an alien, and she's saying that she's going to be leaving this planet, and I think he has like kind of a one shot to do it, and it's kind of spoilers, not really, but this is where she's contemplating, you know, maybe taking out WizKid because he's a part of this, you know, the contest, him and the sirens. But let me skip to the high school parts of it. So here we are at the high school play, which is extremely dramatic, and he almost kind of fools you into thinking that it's like some sort of ritual. But this is kind of where we're introduced to the sirens, and this is straight up kind of Mean Girls, like Clueless esque, which I really, really liked. So let me see if I can get this correct. So, oh man, okay, so this is Susie, this is Betty, this is Sandy, and this is Wendy. And here's, you know, Spaceman posing as a high school kid, just like foreshadowing like I'm gonna get one of these. Now here's the interesting thing, and this is why I'm really excited for the second one is I won't get too much into spoilers. I know I've been spoiled. It's really hard to talk about this book without spoilers, but these four sirens at almost no point at this time in the story do they even feel like warriors. They just feel like really kind of, like bossy, mean girls. So it's really, really interesting as you're reading this to see them kind of treat this sort of simple mission into the biggest thing. Because as they sort of progress in the story, it's hinted many times that they can't just go gung ho. Like if as soon as one of the sirens are alerted, the other three will attack you. Like you have to single them out. You have to single out each siren, or else the other three or whoever's left is just going to attack and kill you. But it's weird because they're high school girls, so you're kind of like at the back of your mind, you really want to see like I want to see them, I want to see them fight. I want to see why these girls are such a threat. But here we are in high school, spaceman, posing as a high school kid, and he's immediately taken by the principal, and he just shoots him. And this is kind of where this is pretty much kind of where the most of the story kind of picks up. And Spaceman, his style is to just shoot everyone, just to take out everyone, get his little posse, get his crew, and they immediately start what you would call, let's see here. He starts a party. And man, this would be such a here's the Killer's song lyric. Oh man, he perfectly gets the tone of like this sort of high school kind of aspect of the story. Love it, I really do. But yeah, Julia does the opposite and works with WizKid here. Let's see if I can get a. So they do the opposite, and they work together to just basically single out the people absolutely needed for the mission. And this is her style, and it works out pretty well. Here's them trying to scope out, trying to figure out the situation, which is cool. And then, oh yeah, and this reminds me of like, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, so one of the best lines in this book right here. So she recruits this dude, who's one of the sirens is really into, which is the perfect way to single one out. It's like I'll shoot you, you'll be on my team, you'll be loyal to me, and I know Susie will go on a date with you, and you will help me capture her. And he's like, okay. And so this is the point where one of Spaceman's like lackeys finds the whiz kid. He's up, he's like he's on to his case. And this is my favorite part, oh wait, here we go. It's like they say get him, and then oh wait, did I mess it up? Did I mess up the joke? Oh boy. Oh, okay, no, here's the joke, my bad. So he goes Juke City, and then which here's like the juke. He's like, oh, and another testament to Narwhal style. He does like a really quick like when there's action happening, he'll draw it like kind of really quick, almost crude like. But I like how every time he draws something really crude or something very specific, it's like with a purpose. It's like if he's trying something crude, it's to evoke some sort of emotion. It's not really at random, which I like. But this joke, okay, anyway, so Juke City population, this guy, and he gets away. This is where he zooms out, and this is great. Yeah, no, this is a good book. I don't want to give any spoilers at this point. I really just buy the book at this point. Just buy the book. This is a really good book. Narwhal, you really, I think you are an absolute contender right now in Comicsgate, in indie comics. Up there with the big guys like John Malin, up there with Ethan Van Sciver. Like, this is, I could reread this book and it won't even be a chore, and that's saying something. Yeah, just buy the book. Buy this book. I think it's still in demand. I'll probably put a link in the description if it's still available. 16 minutes. That's not too bad. Hopefully, honestly, this is a lot. It's a lot. I don't think I could even get this to 10-minute review. There's a lot going on in this book, but yeah, no. If you like what if you like this review, subscribe, do all that stuff. But yeah, more reviews, more stuff coming, and thanks. All right, bye.